How y'all doing? We are now tuned in to another episode with the Black Owl Podcast. I got my girl Key here. We got a lot of important topics to talk about, man. We're talking about lease buyout, rate buy down, and option period. These things are very important things that are very vital when you're dealing with the buying process. So I'm excited about this, man. How you feel, Keith?
I'm feeling good. I'm happy to be here. Happy to talk gems and give game. A lot of this stuff is something that I had to learn, on my own. So I'm trying to figure out, how you learned,
Yeah.
And, just being able to share that knowledge with others, it's very rare you're going to come across people who just want to openly give you the game and not gatekeep. Because everybody's afraid of, people gatekeeping. But I always tell people, listen, 99% of people are going to probably not execute anyway. So it doesn't really matter.
It's for who it's for. And like I tell my clients, I say, I want you to know everything I know. That way you're comfortable with the process, like I don't play basketball because I don't know how to play basketball. It's simple, so somebody that don't know how to buy a house or know the information to buy a home, they would be more opposed to buying a home versus when they know the information, they're like, okay, I know this. Yeah. Let's do this. Let's go and pull the trigger. So I am excited. Let's dive into it, man. How you feel about lease buying out?
Okay. So recently I had a client. We was definitely trying to get her lease bought out with her apartment.
Okay.
The thing was with her, she wasn't able to do it because she was too far. Like the builders would have had to pay too much money to get her out of it.
Right.
So we didn't do that. She just kind of stayed. She knew she had to have that one extra month of paying her rent, which was fine. But I believe it's a great incentive for buyers who are looking to get out of their lease early and don't have much time on their lease. Now, I don't know if it works for you or how it works how it works for you and what you've encountered. But I do believe it's a great incentive for buyers as long as you know how to work the deal and having that, that builder there that's going to allow the deal to actually go through.
Right. No, I agree. And I have many conversations with clients where they like, hey, I want to move in 6 months. And my first question is, okay, why 6 months? And they always say, okay, well, I'm in the lease, 6 months, my lease will be over. So my next question is, okay, if we can get you out your lease the correct way, the correct manner, would you be opposed to that or willing to do that? And most of the time they're ready to get their house.
Yeah.
So they like, oh yes, what should we do? And I explain to them that these builders have incentives. Get with your lease. And what I've noticed in the past, it works better with apartments. When a landlord, he's kind of like want to keep you in that contract with him because once he lose you as a tenant, he got to find another tenant.
Yeah.
Versus an apartment, they got somebody looking for their home right now. That's online. They have the eyes to the that's on their website 24/7. So they're not opposed to somebody buying out their lease, seeing what that dollar amount is, getting them out their lease, and just getting them out. Getting that money. So I use my bonus, those incentives that those builders offer. I use that towards buying them out their lease.
And I think that's a great idea because I believe it shows loyalty to the client. It shows your clients that you're dedicated to do whatever it takes to get the deal closed, but not only get the deal closed, but to see them actually in their home. That's an accomplishment for them. So if you can help contribute to their accomplishment, I believe that's a fair exchange.
Right.
I would say with this, I know because we didn't talk about resale, so a lot of, when it comes down to the lease buyout, I believe that new construction is more open to it than a traditional resale home. Reason being is because a lot of the sellers want to keep their money to themselves. They already got a split with the buyer's agent, the listing agent. They trying to walk out with a certain amount of money. So with new construction, builders sit on inventory.
They wait.
So they're more open to receiving okay, well, what we got to do to make this work.
To get this deal through. No, I agree. And I explain to my clients, I say, hey, just think about if you have an Uncle Joe. You have Uncle Joe, he owns a house. He wants to sell his house. Uncle Joe is trying to save his money as much as possible versus getting with the Toll Brothers or Weston Home or Long Lake or any of these builders. They have the money to be able to buy you out your lease. So that would be more so of the best approach for the buyer. And they love it. When they hear that, the buyer's like, oh, man, my realtor is amazing.
Because they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know. So, no, I like that. I like that. So, any of you buyers out there that want to break your lease or get out your lease, you know, connect with Blackout, man. We know what we doing.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna make sure you know all the games, all the tactics, everything you need to do to go into this process very smooth and easily, because home buying can be very stressful. It can be very stressful. You know, you're committing to a 30-year loan term,
right.
And the reality of it is that there's something called buyer's fatigue,
right,
where you kind of get burnt out during the process if you're looking at houses and, you know, you're looking at too many in one day.
Right.
Me personally, I don't have my clients look at no more than maybe 3 or 5 a day.
Yeah, because now you overload.
Yeah.
You don't even know what decision to make. You done seen
Correct.
so many houses, you're like, okay, I like that first one, I like that third one, I like that 8th one, I like that 10th one. Which one do I want?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do agree on not overloading my clients. We're going to narrow down what specifically do you like, what you want in your home, and that's for, you know, us to kind of help them out and direct them in the right place.
Okay. So I know you said we was going to discuss rate buy down. So tell me about rate down. Well, I know about rate buy downs, but tell the audience or tell the guests or potential clients, tell them what rate buy downs are and how they're beneficial in new construction, and what is the importance of a rate buy down.
Okay. And y'all gonna hear me here. Y'all gonna hear me say new construction a lot. I love new construction. That's it. I'm the new construction king. Come on, now say it again, Queen. Say it again. New construction king. Yes, Lord, I am. You know, so with the rate buy down, let's say the price point is $300,000. All right, and let's say we're at market rate. Let's say the interest rate is 7%.
Okay.
All right. Now, of course, we know the lower your interest rate is, the lower your monthly expenses is, right?
Yeah.
So let's say we want to get that 7 to a 6. Let's just say a point down. Just giving you an estimate and an example. Let's say the price point is $300,000, right? Now it's going to take you 1% of that $3,000, which would be $3,000, to buy that interest rate down from a 7 to a 6. All right. Now I can give you guys another example. Let's say the price point is $700,000. 1% of that will be what, $7,000? So it would take you $7,000 to buy down that rate. So if you have the capital, I think if I had to give you my advice, I think use that money to buy down the rate, because it would be very beneficial for your monthly payment.
Yeah, for sure. So I know there's popular rate buy down. So they have what, the 2-1 and the 3-2-1. Is that something you feel comfortable explaining at this time?
Yeah, I actually it's very popular. Some of my clients don't like it because they like something that's consistent.
Permanent.
You know what I mean? Permanent. They like a fixed rate, right?
Which
for the 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we just described, right? Now, 3-2-1 is specifically like, okay, you got let's say a $3.99 interest rate the first year.
Okay.
All right. The next year, this is the 2, and then it goes up to a $4.99.
Okay.
And then the third year goes up to what, a $6.99.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So some clients don't like that because it's like they got used to this payment. Yeah, it's not consistent.
Okay.
They didn't have this payment for a year, and then it goes up. They may be not financially ready for that in a year. We don't know where you're going to be in a year.
Yeah.
So some clients don't like it. It'd be appealing to some clients. It just depends on who the client is and if they're confident on where they're going to be in the next year or two.
Got you. Okay. All right, so we got through the rate buy downs, we got through the lease buyout. I think now we need to talk about option periods, because it's very, very important in the contract when it comes to working with buyers. This is where buyers are protected. So I do believe we should discuss the option period, you know, the importance of it again, you know, what can happen, you know, during that time, or during that time frame, or whatever it may be that you specifically believe the buyers need to know in this market. Okay,
option period, and this is where the fun stuff come. I have buyer consultations, and once I get to the option period part of the buying process, I like to explain to them that this step is very important. All right, now, option period can typically range from 5 to 10 days, but everything in real estate is negotiable.
For sure.
But that's standard, you know, 5 to 10 days. And I tell my buyers that option period is for us to do our due diligence as far as running inspections.
Okay.
All right, we want an inspector to get in the house to inspect the home and, you know, do their inspector things. And appraisals is one of those important things during option period. Now, appraisals is for us to understand that that house is appraised for what that listing agent is asking for.
Gotcha.
They can be asking for $300,000, but that house can be worth $250,000.
For sure.
You know, we want to know that. So, option period is for the buyer's protection, to let them know if they want to back out the deal or not.
Okay.
You know, so you got 5 to 10 days, whatever we kind of negotiate and what's on contract, for them to back out the deal or not.
Okay, and you spoke on appraisals, so I did want to touch base on that, because we're not actually discussing appraisals, but since we are here, I do believe it's important to talk about, you know, go a little bit more into detail about, like, you know, if the house is, like you said, they $300K and it appraised for $250,000. That means that if the house appraises for more, in your contract you will also want to have a contingency based on it appraising for more than the house worth. Or so, say example, the house, like he just said, $300,000 is $250K. You only gonna put the offer in for $250K, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the reality of it is the seller is going to either have to lower the price or accept the $250K, or you're going to have to come out with $50K on the back end, correct? Right. To give to the seller. Am I right? So
let's say the house is listed at $300,000. This is what the seller wants. This is what they have it on the MLS for, and we get it appraised for, and it's $250. All right. You as the buyer, you have the option to back out that deal because it's the seller pre-occurring cause on why this house is not going. Why this deal is not going through. They listed it for way more than what it is. Worth. So that's what option period is for. It's for the buyer to kind of have that option to back out the deal. Okay. You know.
All right.
Yes, Lord.
Okay, so do you have anything else you want to touch base on before we exit this podcast interview?
I want to leave the rest of the information for the rest of the podcast episodes. I think we touched on a lot. If y'all like this episode, you guys share this, all right? If y'all comment on this episode to get a free buyer's consultation, comment buyer, all right? Do you have anything to tell them?
They need to subscribe if they want more information. If you want more information, you need to follow, or we're not on Instagram. You need to subscribe to our YouTube channel you can get all the gems, because we're gonna drop them. We're gonna have these episodes coming out like it's nothing. No gatekeeping. Everything that people don't talk about, because a lot of people love to talk about, the positive things of real estate. Everybody wants to talk about the pros, but nobody wants to talk about the cons.
Yes, Lord.
And a lot of the times, as a buyer, you have a lot of things that in your contract that could actually protect you, but if you don't know it, you can lose your earnest money deposit. Right. And I think that's something we should talk about on the next episode.
Y'all stay tuned.
Earnest money deposit. Because we didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we're going to do earnest money. We didn't talk about
earnest money.
Because a lot of people is like, what is that? And hey, I'm going to explain to y'all what that is, all right? Y'all stay tuned. Black Owl is in the building. Stay tuned. I look forward to, speaking to y'all soon.
Bye.